For the replay viewers, this is one of our websites, Jillian Trail. You can just go to jilliantrailblog.com and check us out. We got like, oh my God, over 5 years of content over there. Hey, you guys. It's been... Find out, I forgot how to operate my Periscope. Who is WOG for life? Hey there. Hey, Tammy. How are you guys doing? My light's not the best, huh? I guess it'll work. I kind of got my light behind me today. Hey, Sharonda. Oh my goodness, I'm finally back in the shoot. Hey, Toya. So glad you can ping in. So glad you ladies are on tonight. So glad you guys are on tonight. I am so excited. I am so excited because I haven't been away from Periscope forever. So we did the 14-day love challenge. Hopefully you guys were following us. We did that like the first 14 days of February. And then we had the event at the end of the month. And I was just like, okay. Thank you for calling me fabulous. Woo. We had a good time at the Baltimore DMV brunch in Brandon. But I tell you what, after that, I was like, I need to recharge. And I'm still recharging. Hey there. So I wanted to get with you guys, and you guys keep me in prayer because it's my goal to hang out with you guys at least once a week, just to share some stuff with my singles, because that's outside of my youth. Single ladies are one of my first true loves, because I just can always remember and resonate with that time period in my life. And I'm going to talk about that more. But before I do that, for the people that's replaying and this is your first time on, or even joining live and this is your first time on, let me take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Jo Bullock, and I am madly in love with God, and I love to help women. I'm passionate about helping women make the right choice when it comes to their dating relationships, because you know what? This is not a game. When it comes to dating relationships, it's a big deal, because who you connect yourself with will change the trajectory of your life, right? And it could be in a good way, or it could be in a bad way. So it's my prayer, it's my hope that when you do connect with somebody, that they change the trajectory of your life in a good way. You know, I had a lot of the young ladies from in South Carolina. They came up for the DMV brunch in Brandon. And many of you guys know we recently purchased a home. And when they were here, they were kind of joking with me, because some of you who follow me for a while know that I met my husband online. I'm not ashamed about it. I met my husband online, and it was so funny. I think it was Gigi. She's not on here yet. But Gigi was like, when she came to my house, she's like, oh my God, Jill, what site did you meet your husband? I need to go meet him too. You know, because she appreciates and see that that my lifestyle, you know, partly as a result of who I connected myself with, has got me to a place of good contentment, you know, and it's a good place, and a place that I'm grateful for, you know what I mean? But had I made other decisions and connect with other guys, especially like some guys I had dated in high school, oh my God, like that are in jail right now, like for real. Like I've dated guys in high school who's in prison right now, like real talk. So I'm just so grateful that I was able to come into the knowledge of the truth and really make better decisions. But outside of that, making the right choice, I'm better known for my work with Detour Movement, right? Many of you guys connect with me from Detour Movement, from Abstaining for Jesus, and that's what everything is birth. However, when it comes to making the right choice, that kind of gets more into like the dating, which is slightly different than what we do within Detour Movement. Detour Movement is, you know, dealing all with the spiritual development, dealing with transforming your life, your relationships, and your business. So, but it all works together for the good. You know, it all comes together. So today, you guys, invite your friends if you haven't already. So invite your followers. This is going to be a juicy scope. Proverbs 31. Hey, I was always wondering about the cause. People say so many different things about online dating. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do some YouTube videos probably tonight, and I may talk about that in one of those videos. I need to write that down because I be forgetting. If I forget, message me and tell me to do a video on online dating, because the mind be going 100 miles per hour, because I will do something on that. And everybody has a different opinion about it. Some people will argue, well, You know, and I've heard people say this, if you're dating somebody online, that's not God putting you together, the internet's putting you together. Or, you know, people have all kind of things to say about it. But I'll tell you the truth. I can't speak for nobody else, but I can only speak from my own experience that I know that God was in putting me and my husband together, because it's just, we have a beautiful marriage. And again, I don't say that to boast. I say that to share what is possible. You know, I can count on one hand how many times me and my husband have had an argument or anything. You know, we're on one accord. And the word of God tells us that, right? How can two walk together unless they agree? So you have to be on one accord, and you both have to love God. You know, my opinion, it doesn't matter where you meet somebody. You know, it doesn't matter if you meet them at the church. It doesn't matter if you meet them at CVS, online. It matters about the condition of their heart, right? Who are they? Who's their God? Who you be? Who's you be, right? And what you do. You know what I mean? That's really what it's about. Really, that's really what it's about. And part of that, what you do should be serve God above all things, right? Hi, daughter. This is Mom. Hey, beautiful. Me and Mom was actually periscoping this morning. Okay, she on to Kate Elizabeth. So glad you're on. And you know, my mom is so precious and she's such a woman of wisdom. I always call her out by her age because I think it's so cute. My mom's like 75 years old. She had me when she was 41 years old. And she's such a blessing. And it's so crazy because some of the things that I share with you today, a lot of things I share within the Detour Movement Ministry is things Mom was trying to tell me 30 years ago, but I didn't understand it. So I'm going to share these things with you, and hopefully I can meet you where you are so you can understand it. So, hey, let's get into it. Make sure you share. I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight. And I got a whole book, and I haven't really, Mom knows best. They sure do. They sure do. And we be thinking, like, you know, I used to think, oh, my mom's so much older. She don't know, you know, what nothing new under the sun. Absolutely nothing. Hey, Alexis, so glad you're on. There's nothing new under the sun. And they do know. So we got to learn how to take heed to the wisdom, to the wise women in our lives. So anyway, ladies, let's talk about what a man really wants. And I have a book here. I actually should publish it as an ebook. And it's something I wrote here some time ago. It's entitled, I called it Top 14 Reasons Why He Won't Marry You. And the truth revealed about what a man really wants. And I'm just going to talk on a couple of things, and I'm going to read a little bit out of this book tonight because I want to share it with you, because a lot of times we got such a misperception about what a man really wants. And because of these misperceptions we've gotten from media, from our friends, from our own just misperceptions and, you know, fantasies that we've kind of conjure up, we get off-sighted of really what a man wants. And I'm just going to talk about a couple of things. I have 14 things. We're not going to talk about all 14 tonight because we ain't going to be on here forever. And I don't want to feed you from a fire hose. Okay? So I talk about in this book, you know, some of the number one reason why a man will not put a ring on it. And the quote I have here says, the problem isn't your lack of inventory in your closet, but rather the lack of contentment within yourself. And I talk about the first thing being dealing with insecurities. Dealing with insecurities. Insecurities is a real thing. And every woman has some level of insecurity. And it's because of, you guys know I like to talk about the lies, because there's so many lies that has really just distorted our view of how fabulous we are, right? I mean, it's just so many things that we've heard over the years from various angles. It could be from teachers, from boyfriends, from parents, from cousins, from siblings that was negative and toxic and told you that you weren't everything that you said that God said you are. And in this moment, it's reminding me of something. You know, in the Bible, it talks about when Adam and Eve was first created, and God had called out to Adam, and he wanted to go run and hide. Right? Because then he was like, God was like, why are you, Adam? Why are you running and hiding from me? And he was like, because I'm naked. You know what I'm saying? And he said, who told you you were naked? And it was in that moment was the first level of shaming that we've had known to mankind. And it kept going and going and going. And it's because somebody usually have told us something about who we are, who we not, and made us question who we are. And I'll tell you, it's been an overrating about how we look in our appearance. And granted, I'm telling you, I'll be the first to tell you that it does matter, but it's not the end all be all. Thank you, Minister Felicia. I saw your message, but I didn't want to lose my thought. I'm so glad you're joining. I'm so glad and grateful that you are sharing with your followers. You know, it was in that moment that we started to have some shaming about ourselves. And if you would, ladies, please grab a pen. Hey, Jill, so glad you're joining. If you guys please grab a pen, because I want this to be a keeping it real session, and I want you to really grow. I don't want this to be another scope, and then you go from the scope and run on to another scope, because how many of you know Periscope can be addictive? Girl, I know. I know Periscope can be addictive. And then tonight I'm going to encourage you. I'm not saying not to look at anybody else's scope. Go for it, because there's a lot of good content on Periscope. However, I want you to really meditate in this moment and really over these things and think about some of the lies you have been told that has really impacted your confidence and that has caused you to have maybe some deep-rooted insecurities about who you are. Because this is the number one thing that holds women's back, and it causes us to lack trust. You know, it caused us to be jealous. It caused us to be just awesomely unattractive because we aren't sure of who we are. You know what I mean? And it's very off-putting, because a lot of times you may have a certain thing about you that's not the best, but a lot of times the guy is overlooking it. You know what I mean? But you keep bringing it to the forefront and you keep making it a big deal. And the fact that you can't even get over it is more unattractive than whatever that thing is you're talking about. Let me give you an example. I may have to take my earrings out because it's kind of blinding you guys. So let me give you an example. I always use the example of, I'll use my neck this time. You know, and one time people used to tell me, and I don't think so, and if I do, whatever, that I had a neck like a giraffe. Like my neck was long. You know what I mean? And if I'm out with a guy and all I can think about is, oh my God, do you notice my long neck? Like, do you think I look like a giraffe? Like, you're like, what? Like, I'm not even thinking anything like that about you. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? And those types of comments, those type of comments makes you unattractive. It's not so much you. And sometimes we get so caught up with our clothes and what we have on. And I just want to encourage you to spend more time working on your inner self. Let me just read a little bit. I'm just going to read this first paragraph here from this little pamphlet / ebook. The enemy's trying to, yes. So I read the first sentence here. No, did I read the first sentence? I don't think I did. So let me read this first to you guys. Check this out. Well, insecurities are the number one reason why a man will not put a ring on it. An insecure woman lacks fulfillment internally and turns to external things, clothes, cars, purses, shoes, to make her smile or feel valuable. This is called filling a void. When you buy things to validate yourself or need material things to feel better about yourself, that's insecurity. If you are an insecure woman, you will suck the lifeblood out of a man due to your extreme need for attention and materialistic things. No matter how he tries to fill your every need, it will never be enough. No matter how much clothes, cars, purses, pairs of shoes you buy, if you are insecure, you will constantly want more. It is just like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much water is in it, it will never be full because of the hole. It's always something leaking out. Why? The problem isn't your lack of inventory in your closet, but rather the lack of contentment within yourself. And that's the quote I said at the beginning here. I'm just going to finish this next sentence because the stuff is getting good. An insecure person tends to easily adopt the views, opinions, and ideas of others, people, because they have no idea who they are and what they stand for. You know what I mean? Just be honest. Just imagine it's me and you, because you in your house, I'm in my house. It's just me and you, right? And I want you to write down, like, can you resonate with this? Do you sometimes find yourself buying pairs of shoes, and when you feel an emotionally certain type of way, you're going emotionally shopping or eating emotionally, you know what I mean, and saying, well, I'm just going to buy this outfit because I want to look the bomb, even though I got the money to do so. You know what I mean? And things like that. And I'm going to keep reading here real quick. Because of this, an insecure person tends to be vulnerable and often does not stand up for themselves, and they gossip about other people and feel a sense of jealousy towards others' appearance, attitudes, and accomplishments. And this is really like sometimes, ladies, and I'm not gonna say I'm exempt, because I said we all have insecurities, right? But constantly we want to be working to melt those insecurities away. But sometimes we just have to put blinders on and focus on what's in front of us. You're like, what, Jalita? You just say put the blinders on? Yeah. Sometimes we are just get so caught up what's going on to the left of us and what's going on to the right of us. I know we have a lot of single women who are in the 30s, you know what I mean? And sometimes that can it can be discouraging. I mean, I remember when I was 25 and 26, 27, I became discouraged about my journey to marriage and wondering if God had really called that as part of my life and part of the ministry for me. And, just getting and worrying about, oh my God, she engaged too? Dang, they get married now too? I mean, it's just like everybody, it seems like everybody and like 10 people and 9 of them married, right? Everybody seems like they're going through and having this great life. But let me just say this. Everything that glitters ain't gold. And what God has for you is for you, and it's got to be the right time. I'm telling you, I'm so grateful that I didn't meet my husband any sooner than when I met him. Any sooner than I met him, because I tell you the truth, had I met him earlier, I would not have been prepared. I would not have been ready. You know what I mean? And even let the truth be told, even when I did meet him, some of those insecurities and all of that came up. It did. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. My husband's a photographer. Hey, Steve, so much. Thank you for joining. We're having a ladies chat, but you're welcome in this space. But my husband's a photographer. That's what I was about to say. And I had some insecurities about that, because it bothers me about different pictures he was taking. And I was like, okay, I don't know. I just started to feel a certain type of way. I guess you can call it, I think they call it jealousy. Right? And I always, when this is one thing, ladies, I'm going to encourage you to do, you need to make sure you get around some godly women. Girl, let me tell you. You need to get around some godly women that can help you when you're kind of trying to think through your relationships and really trying to see if your relationship is lined up with as a God relationship, or you just kind of doing your own thing. You need to be consulting with other godly women, because at that time I was having some levels of insecurity, and my sister Kay Elizabeth had to be like, Jill, I think that you are taking it out of proportion. I think you are just being a little overly sensitive and reading way too much into it than it really is, right? Come on. Women love to take pictures, and there's different types of photographers. Some photographers do portraiture. That's one of the things my husband do. Some do like fashion model. That's another thing that he's really into. Some people like to do nature, and everybody's going to have a different thing. And just because he likes one thing over another doesn't mean that he's trying to be a certain type of way or do a certain type of thing. I totally trust him now. Like, he goes out all the time and do things, but I had to check myself. And if I didn't check myself, I tell you that relationship would not have lasted. We would not have gotten married. Because I had to check myself and check my own insecurities. But it's important. And even before I met him, a lot of my insecurities were already melting away. And because he loved me and he, knew that it wasn't that, I don't know how you can measure insecurities, but I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I probably was like at a 3 with that. You know what I mean? But imagine if it was a 7 or 8, we would not have been married. It would have been too much. It would have been too much. And I know people in that situation, where I know I asked this guy his wife just suffers from insecurities really hard. And actually they're going through a divorce because he tried to do everything to please her and he couldn't, because what she's looking for is not in him. She's looking for wholeness and he don't have it for her. So, hey, I have a couple of more signs, and you guys talk back to me. I want you to talk back to me if any of these resonate with you. Let's be transparent in this moment. I have common signs of insecurities, and you can say if you resonate with this, if you overcame it, or are you breaking through this right now. Fear of speaking up for oneself. What if the man has insecurities? That's a real thing. And that's a real thing. And I'm starting to realize, let me say this. Something I realize is that just as much as we women seek relationships and companionship with men to fill our void, men seek sex and, sexual pleasures and see how many women they can conquer to validate who they are. that came to me. God gave me that about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that just as we women seek relationships and companionship to try to fill voids in our lives, men do the same thing, but they do it by how many women they can conquer. So you ask, if a man has insecurities, you need to measure them, right? You need to see how deep rooted the insecurity is, because everybody's going to have insecurities, However, how deep rooted, how sensitive is that insecurity? And I would say you probably want to try to, it needs to be under a 5. If every little thing comes up, you got to figure out what that comfort zone is, and you have to know what you can tolerate, right? So if his insecurities leads to him being very controlling and demanding all your time and not letting you have your own mind, or, you know what I'm saying? Then you have to say, okay, that's an unhealthy level of insecurity. There's like a healthy level, and then there's unhealthy level, because there's a healthy level where verbal abuse. No, get out of there. Get out of there. So I'm talking to singles. If you married, we're going to have another conversation. But if you are not married, if you're engaged, single, dating and waiting, whichever, if you're dealing with a man right now with abusive language, ain't nobody got time for that. Yes, Ronald and emotions. Yeah. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Because, hurt people. And heal people. So if he is dealing with a lot of things and he's cussing and fussing, Rhonda and okay. I'm trying to catch what you said, but I think you're saying yourself and emotion. So yeah, let me read this list to you guys, and I hope that answers your question. But if he has insecurities, to what level? If it's deep rooted, no, because he needs to go get healed. And that's the mistake that we often make, is that we get with people that's not healed. We're not healed, and we just hurting together. Ain't nobody got time. Common signs of insecurities are fear of speaking up for oneself. I know I've been guilty of this. I used to be afraid to speak up for myself because I was so concerned that if I say the wrong thing, that the guy would not like me, or, that I would turn him off. You know what I mean? And if you fear of speaking up for yourself, how can you be bold in that? How can you be confident in that? How can you just be authentic in that if you can't even freely express your thoughts? You know what I mean? So that was one thing, and that was me. If that resonated with you guys, you just say resonate. That was me, whichever. Okay. Discomfort expressing your own values and beliefs. When I speak up, that was a problem. When you speak up, that's a problem. Now, when you speak up, if you're just sharing your opinion with you and him, and you're just sharing an idea and he doesn't want to listen to that, then that sounds like somebody who is very controlling and who wants to dominate your life. And that is not a healthy relationship. That is, I don't know what that is. The minimum is an unhealthy relationship that you don't need to be in. And it is a form of abuse. A healthy relationship is where both parties' freedom is valued. You guys, post that on Facebook, okay? A healthy relationship is where both parties' freedom is valued. Your opinion is valued. It's a mutual respect. Okay? So anyway, the next thing is discomfort in expressing your own values and beliefs. Finding comfort in allowing others to make a decision even when you are uncomfortable. This sounds like, what should I wear? What should I do in this situation? Kind of seeking other people to help you to validate your decision. Okay, next thing. It needs to look good or sharp when you are feeling not your best. Amen. Yeah. Have a strong desire to please other people, or a sense of discomfort when you don't do what others want you to do. Okay. Doubt or uncertainty about your future overwhelms you, and you think that the worst thing that can happen will happen. Right? If you have a feeling of, oh my God, you're uncomfortable with uncertainty, then we have to shift from that. Often we say that fear and faith doesn't reside on the same block. And when we talk about having uncertainty and being very uncomfortable with uncertainty, that's having a lack of faith. Because what's that saying is, because I don't know exactly what's going to happen, I'm going to think the worst is going to happen. I'm not going to believe enough in God. I'm not going to believe enough in myself to believe that greater is coming, to believe, to have, what do they say? Faith is the evidence of things hoped for. Evidence is the evidence. I can't even talk. Faith is the things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. There we go. Right? I'm getting it together. And in that, if you are uncomfortable, I'm working on that. Yeah. We have to work on that. If you're uncomfortable with that, then that's saying I have lack of faith. That's saying that I'm afraid that the worst is going to happen. And I'm telling you, that is something that the enemy plays a trick on to try to steal your confidence. That's what he do, because he's the author of lies. Okay, so those are some of the things I want to share with you. I'm also going to pivot through this book and maybe share one or two more. How are we doing on time, you guys? Let me check my computer. We've been off about 27 minutes. I'm going to go over one or two more things, and we're going to save some for next week. It's more talking about insecure woman, confident woman. Let me just read what a confident woman is, and then I'm going to give you another. I'm only going to go over two tonight. So I went over one is insecurities. I'm going to go over a couple more things, and I'm going to go over number two. Okay? Let me read this, what it says for confidence. Confidence is liking yourself just as God has created you to be, from the outside to your most inner being. And I quote my girlfriend Tanya here: confidence is being comfortable in your own skin, exuding positivity, even sometimes a strong and silent presence about yourself. And as my friend Sonia says, it is ultimately being ingrained in your personal ideas, beliefs, or values, regardless of what the masses feel or believe. That is what a confident woman is. It's not about how pretty you are. No, man, y'all better go on with that. People get caught up with that. It's not about that. Ain't about that. I know some people would say it's so unattractive, but they are so confident because they know who they are in God. They know their values. They know their belief. And they understand that their worth is not tied to their beauty. Okay. And this is why, there's so many beautiful women who suffer from insecurities, because they have displaced ideology about what makes a confident woman. It's not about that. I mean, that's nice. You're going to get a lot of next turn, but then what? What you going to have to offer? What are you going to have to offer after that? So let's go into number two, and let's keep the conversation going, ladies. Let me know if you have questions, because I'm going to wrap up what I'm saying. I want to hear from you if you have questions about this, and we're going to keep this conversation going for the weeks to come. So the second thing, this is one of the greatest attraction killers, and talking about what the guy really wants. Being desperate. This is attraction killer, aka a strong desire to be a wife and is willing to settle to get the title. Right? What all I have on here? So we have to be mindful of that. This is one of the hardest things for women to come and to grab. And to really understand, I'm not recommending that you ask yourself, am I desperate? But rather take an inventory. Take an inventory. What type of things have you done? And I'm not, just because you date online, that doesn't mean you're desperate, no. But, if you find yourself conforming from your values and beliefs to be what he wants you to be, then that's showing signs of desperation. And I want to encourage you, because we don't spend enough time really just understanding what are your values and beliefs. Spend some time tonight, you guys. Go in the Facebook group, DMI, Fabulous I Am members. I'm going to post a question. What are your values? What are your values? You know what I mean? You got to get crystal clear on who you are. You got to get crystal clear on who you are, whose you are, what do you stand for? And sometimes we don't have that. And you know what the saying goes true. If you don't stand for something, you'll go for anything. So we have to establish that. What am I going to stand for? Am I going to be a woman of non-compromise? Am I going to be a woman who says, okay, I'm about that God life. I'm about offering my body as a living sacrifice. I'm about having standards. And these are my standards. This is what I require. This is what is important to me. I value strong family. I value managing money God's way. You know what I mean? I value spending time with my children. I value a man who spends time with his children and take care of his children. What do you value? What is important to you? Who's that in the brown? You're showing a lot of love and a lot of hearts. I appreciate you. You guys continue to throw the hearts out there. So what do you guys... I have a couple more examples I'm going to share with you. Are both... Okay, thinking about people being on the same... Me, Alexis. Thank you for the blue hearts. Thanks for the yellow hearts. You guys are awesome. So I got a couple of examples here, and then we're just going to keep talking. And kind of go from there. So what type of man are you allowing in your life? Are they men of standards and followers of Christ? That's one of the biggest compromise and desperation moves we make, is that we get with somebody who's not following God. Yeah, we do. And we make all kind of excuses for him. And we say, oh, he going to go to church. Oh, he went to church with me one time last year. Girl, bye, Felicia. And then you need to say, bye, Troy. Yeah, you want to build a bear workshop. Ain't nobody building no bear. Ain't nobody building no bear. We ain't doing no build a bear workshop. Let it go. Okay. Are both of you on the same and similar status, like level in terms of education, income, career? Are you pursuing your master's degree and he's still thinking about his GED? I'm just asking. These are signs. Amen, sister. For God I live, for God I die. I love it. I know that's right. I know that is right. Okay? We need to make sure we just got to make sure somebody's on our same level. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was talking to my nephew today, y'all. And he's just like loving all the women up at the college around here. And, you know, he's transitioning from high school and we're trying to get him to his next thing in life. And I'm constantly asking him, see, he thinks girls are the world, right? Girls. And I'm like, what type of man do you think these women want? You know, and we're talking about that and having a conversation. And I'm like, the girls that he's after, these girls are going to be girls that go off and do very well for themselves and, you know, have very high paying jobs and all of this. And so me and him having a chat, and he realizes that in order to be with them, he's going to have to get on their level. Right? I said, yep. I was talking to him and I said, yep, you're going to be need to making 6 figures, have your real estate investment license, and you're going to need to be doing your thing, because they ain't going to want no broke guy. But us women, he see that. Us women, sometimes we don't always see that and require that person, that who's ever coming to you to get on your level. Right. This is biblical. Equally yoked. Yeah. It's spiritual. But it's beyond spiritual. We're not going to be so desperate for a man that we're taking anything that come our way and he's not bringing his fair share to the table. That's called settling. And we do that too much as women, and it's time out for that. You don't have to. You don't have to settle. I don't want to hear the statistics. I don't want to hear blah, blah. You don't have to settle at all. So anyway, tonight, talking about what a man wants, and we talk about what he don't want, because it's important to know that. He wants a confident woman. He wants a woman that's not going to settle for less, who understands her worth and requires a man to respect her and to bring his fair share to the table. Right. That's what, yeah, you're going to have to step up. A woman who requires him to respect her. A lot of men, they'll do as much as you let them get away with. Even good guys. Even good guys. But we also, too, you got to make sure you're with a godly guy. Because a godly man, he'll leave you alone if you ain't got your stuff together. Okay? So you have to be mindful. You need to make sure that you require him to have all his boxes checked. Require him to be, demand that respect. Require him. You need to be a Christian. And I don't need you to be trying to get saved. You know, this is not a ministry dating. You're not doing ministry dating one-on-one with him and you trying to bring him and drag him to Christ. No. He needs to already have his God in a relationship. You know, we ain't going to be trying to drag you to Christ. No. Go talk to the deacon, man. Go talk to the deacon. Go talk to the deacon. Let me introduce you to Deacon Wright. let me introduce you to my deacon. Maybe he can help you. My pastor can talk to you. I ain't got time. Okay. Let me introduce the deacon. Okay. It's so true, sis. He needs to want that life. He needs to desire it. And I know a lot of women that's in our community. You ladies are after the heart of God. You know what I mean? You are after the heart of God. You are about renewing your mind so you can transform your life. You are about offering your body as a living sacrifice. So you need to connect with somebody who's doing the same thing, who's on your same level, who is equally yoked with you, who shares the same values and beliefs that you do.